Oh, so we're live now. Hey, everybody, good evening. Welcome to an episode with In the Ring with Christine. And I have a special guest, Base the Kid. How you doing, my guy?
I'm very well. A little tired, but very happy to be here talking to you once again. And I'm just looking forward to whatever anarchy we're going to cause today.
I'm looking forward to it too. And I'm so sorry, everybody, because I'm freezing. So I just put up a picture, and so y'all can just gawk at that. That's my younger years. I was pretty hot. So gawk all you want. Um, so, Base, before we start, I have a scenario.
Okay.
So we're at a boxing event, and I walk up to you and I say, "Hey, mate, how about a tea? Where would you think I was from?"
America trying to do a British accent.
I love it. I love it. I always do that whenever we're traveling, and they're like, "Yeah, you suck." But okay, that's awesome. So we've had. I'm so glad we're like kind of on the same time zone, so we're able to do this show together. Because I've asked you in the past, and I just hate for you to have to get up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So now we're both at a good time. So I'm glad that we can do it. But there's been a lot of stuff in the news and a lot of fights coming up. But the first thing I wanted to address was I saw a tweet, and you had retweeted it, and it was Claressa Shields, and she just won her PLF MMA fight, and she was kind of throwing some I don't know, insults at Alicia Baumgartner, and you had made a comment that you can't even knock anybody out in like little 4 ounce gloves. So I don't think anybody's scared of you or dangerous. So what were your thoughts whenever you saw that? Like, where did those comments come from?
Yeah, no, like it ultimately wasn't really about Clarissa as an athlete or as a boxer, because as a boxer she is one of the elites, but the comment basically was like she was saying, "Oh, Team Baumgarten, like where you at? Tell her she's scared. Like she don't really want this work now that I'm available. What is it? Do you guys really think I'm too dangerous, or do you think I?" And I was just like, "Well, with all due respect to you, you didn't knock out a non-boxer in 4 ounce gloves, and you had 5 minute rounds to do it. So if that's the case, I mean, I don't actually know how dangerous you really are." That was really the situation, and it looks like Christine's unfortunately dropped off. But I'll keep talking until she comes back. So yeah, that was really the thing for the tweet. I mean, look, ultimately everyone knows if we're going like whose team are you out of those two? I'm Team Baumgartner all day, every day. It's well documented. I'm not one of Claressa Shields' biggest supporters, or I don't really like a lot of the stuff she does. I don't like the way she carries on. For the most part, very accomplished athlete, but even with that, I say to myself, there's you have to of who she's fighting, how many opponents that she actually has at the weight classes she's in. I mean, look, from 168, 160, 154, she there's not that many girls up there to fight, unfortunately. That's just the truth. And when you look at it and you say, well, she had 13 world titles and 7 of them were vacant, that says a lot. 3-time undisputed champion. Yeah, it's all the plaudits for that. But I've always maintained that should she have been like a 130 or 135 or 126 or 122, I reckon she would have had losses by now, because the talent pool is just a lot deeper in those lower weight classes. Now, between her and Alicia, I do believe that at 147 or 154, that's a very hard ask of Alicia Baumgartner. I don't really think that she could win that. I'd have to see more to before I could really sort of judge as to whether whether she could. But I reckon she'd at least be like one of the better opponents that you know that Claressa Shields has. So it's kind of how I look here.
I'm so sorry.
How much of that did
This
you hear?
internet. Oh, I heard it all. I heard it all. It's just crazy.
Good.
That this Wi-Fi is messing up. No, no, I think you're right. So let me see. I think that sometimes like I don't know if I mean I know Clarissa sometimes gets on her high horse and I mean she has every right to do that. Like she's really proven herself and she's done a lot of wonderful things. Um at first I wasn't really sure if the bomb guard
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to try that sentence again when the Wi-Fi reconnects. You know, if it ends up being this bad, I will quite happily wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and do one when you're on your proper US Wi-Fi if I need to. But, you know, we can't be having you suffering. I think you're in Italy right now, so yeah, this is a new this is a new problem. Let me check the chat while while Christine's sorting. Oh, is Nika joining us? Hey,
Ah, oh my gosh, you know what? Like, I am so sorry, y'all. Like, this internet is so bad. Like, we have so much to talk about. I have such great topics, and BaseDaKid always comes with it. So I was really looking forward to this interview. But if it does go out again, then we will definitely come on a different time. Um, yeah, the internet is just not working with me. But at first, I was thinking that Baumgartner and Shields dispute may not have been a real thing. Like maybe they were trying to build up a fight in the future. Um, but then I don't know. I mean, they're throwing some jabs and they're hitting low below the belt. Do you think that it was all set up, or do you think it's real?
no, I think initially it started as a bit of a playful thing. Because I think obviously Alicia maybe initiated the first, like, yeah, let's fight. Like, oh, I want to fight you. And then that was when they were friends. So I think it started kind of playful. And then at some point, maybe Clarissa felt, well, hold on, no, you're actually still saying that. Wait, do you really believe this is, this can happen? And she's like, no, let's do it. Let's go. And then from there, it's almost like the switch flipped, and it almost became like, no, like, how dare you think that you're even in the same in the same stratosphere as me? You ain't on my level in any way, shape, or form. So why would you
Yeah,
even, what do you see that you think that you can fight me? But the whole the whole thing for this with me is the whole 147-154 thing, because look, Alicia's right in some aspects. Clarissa has said on numerous times, I'll go down to 147 for
yeah,
Cyborg or for Katie Taylor and these people. Well, why not Alicia? Because if Clarissa's argument is, I'll go to 147 for champions. Well, none of the
hmm,
people that she's called out are champions at 147. They're
that's true.
champions at other weights. So if that's the case, well, this woman's undisputed at 130. She's giving you an extra 5 pounds weight disadvantage at that same 147. But now all of a sudden, then it had to be, okay, what do I have to come up to 154 instead? And now it's this, oh yeah, let's do it at 154. So if you can't make 147, just say, yeah, I can't make 147 anymore, and you're not worth me trying to kill myself to do it. So if you want the fight, let's do it at 150 or 151 or so. If you're gonna do that rather than 154, because let's be real, that's 24 pounds extra.
Right.
Like, that's crazy in any,
It is
you know
crazy.
and there's no
Well,
belt. From there's no belt on the line, you've got to concede something.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times, like, I wonder, like, does she have a PR person? Because I think a lot of times not only her, but there's others that they start talking through emotion so for her she has agreed to the 147, but that's not feasible. That's not plausible. And really, if I was Clarissa, I would have never even put that out there because it's like, I'm the champion. I have all the belts. I'm unified. You want to fight me, you're going to come to my weight. That's what I would have said from the get-go. But I just
Mm.
wonder who's around her saying, hey Clarissa, let's reel back a little bit. Let's think about what we say before we put it out there, because now it is out there. People have receipts and it doesn't look good.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, even if she's got a PR person, I don't think she's the kind of person that can wait to run something by someone. Some
Yeah,
people just are emotional and they're going to
you're
do what
right.
they're going to do in the minute, regardless of who's around them. Even sometimes they got their best friend next to them saying, yo, don't do that. And they
Hmm.
do it anyway, just because that's, that's how they are. And I think that that's just her, that she'll probably run off at the mouth. But unlike someone like Javante, she won't delete the tweets. They're just going to stay up there, and then she's
Yeah.
going to try. She's going to try and maybe course correct later on down the line. But by then, damage is done by that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that people are starting to see her in a different light. Like for people that supported her, liked her before, they're like, okay, you're kind of clowning yourself. Like just stay off social media. Like so many of our champions right now. I mean, we have Ryan Garcia, all over Twitter. We have Devin Haney, we have Tank, you know, what are your thoughts on some of the back and forth? Like, first of all, like I was working or asleep or something during the press conference, and you probably were too. I don't know if you got up to watch it, but I
I
thought it
saw
was
them.
like, oh, you did? Okay.
Mm.
So I thought it was kind of comical, the way Ryan went in there, on a horse and had this entourage. I get it. Everybody has to come in big and do what they do, but he's kind of making a joke out of himself, in my opinion. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much of it was staged and it was for him to, maybe create some viral moments for the promo, but I think at this point in time we can all see that he might be operating on a different wavelength to a lot of other people, but there is some issue there that does need addressing. So I feel like
Mhm.
he's kind of doing certain things maybe just out of character, and then maybe other things are just on this strategic level that no one's going to understand until now. He's giving me Teofimo Lopez vibes at the minute,
Yes.
and we can
Yeah.
we can all tell that Tio isn't the most like sane person out there,
Yeah.
especially after the Cambosos loss. Since before then, he seemed a lot more like switched on, and
Hmm.
then I think something broke in him at that moment, and it feels like something broke in Ryan after the Tank
Yeah.
fight. There was obviously he's had issues prior to that, pulled out of a lot of fights prior. Funnily enough, every fight he pulled out of, Devin went and ended up fighting that person to almost go clean up that work, as it would say. But yeah, since then it's almost like he's all right. I just want to get in, do what I can do now, and get out. That seems like the mentality. Hence why I think he's pushing so hard for this Vegas this Vegas site for the fight. Although to his credit, I also thought when I heard that they was taking it to the Barclays, like, hold on a minute, these two
Hmm.
are both from the West Coast. Like, how is it really gonna sell that oil on the East? Like, because I know that it's a lot more territorial in America than maybe it is in some other
Absolutely.
places. So I that to me seemed a bit strange, but
It did seem a bit strange. And I think that you're right. I mean, I know that he has talked about like mental issues in the past, and it's no joke. I mean, we all go through our ups and downs. But then again, it's like I've talked about this before. It's like the people around you, the yes people, the people that love you, the people that, hopefully that you trust. It's like, what are they saying? I hate to see when these boxers, they just go off the rails, and then they have their people around them and they don't say anything. They don't say a word. A lot of people said, like even Derek James was just sitting there. He didn't say anything, and that's out of his character. Like he's there for a paycheck. Well, you know what? Yeah, he's gonna get a paycheck. And maybe he doesn't care enough to say anything. But what about his dad, or other people?
but
I just often wonder what goes on.
no, do you know what? With that, I mean, look, with Derek, maybe Derek doesn't know what to say at this point. Remember, he hasn't been with him that long, and
That's true.
maybe for him, it's almost a case of like I don't want to incriminate myself in maybe something wild that gets said here. So
Hmm.
let him do what he's doing. Or maybe they had a conversation already and Ryan said to him, I'm gonna do this, that, and that. Like, don't worry about it. It's not real. Like,
Yeah.
it could be that because we know that sometimes that happens. And obviously Derek's not
Sure.
gonna be the one, he did it with Spence in terms of going back and forth with Bomac and Crawford and
Hmm.
stuff. But like Ryan, I guess maybe to him, he's not as personally invested in Ryan like that. And then obviously with
Right.
Ryan's family, like remember his mom was in the crowd, like she was, screaming stuff, and everyone has issues, and they work through it and blah blah blah. And then obviously the dad is the one that's going to bat for him. So I think at that
That's
point
true.
maybe Derek felt like he didn't need to get involved in that. And maybe he's like, this is beneath me. This is two 20-plus-year-olds, as opposed to like maybe Tim, they ain't grown men. So he's like, this is kid stuff. I ain't getting involved in that.
No, I can see that too. I can see that too. But to me, it's kind of telling. And I don't want to just say like Ryan doesn't have a chance, but it's kind of telling his behavior. I know Devin, whenever he's attacked, he'll get defensive and he'll say things back, or whatever. But I don't see him so much initiating. I see his dad sometimes speaking more than he does. But is it telling to you? I mean, the way that Ryan was acting, is it telling on how the fight's going to go?
No, I mean, look, first of all, the narrative of will the fight happen? I think at this point it has to. Whether
Hmm.
Ryan, um, the only reason I could think of it not is Ryan doesn't need the money. That's the first thing. Like he said whether how much he's got liquid assets or liquid money in the account. He said he's made over $100 million. I'm inclined to believe him on that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if he was to pull out of this fight because he can't get his own way, that's maybe feasible. Because as I said, he's done that before, but he didn't have as big a profile as he has right now. So maybe he won't be able. If he did that, he might not be able to live it down the same way as he did when it first happened around sort of 2020 and 2021, when obviously there was the whole COVID thing. So everyone was focused more on that and being trapped indoors, as opposed to, oh, he pulled out of a scheduled fight that he had. Like, that was the last thing on people's minds. Now that the world is back to being more normal than it was then, you can't really hide in plain sight anymore like you could back then. So maybe from that personal brand, he feels like he's going to have to go through with it. But ultimately, I feel like the fight's going to be what the fight's going to be. There's no Ryan is going to fight how he's going to fight, and Devin's going to fight how he's going to fight. None of this is going to change anything, except for maybe if one of them wobbles the other one, they might go for that KO more than they would have before, especially on Devin's side. That he might go to prove a point that the power's back at 140, and watch what I do to this guy. Oh, so you muted? Are you frozen? All right, I can't hear anything, so I'm assuming that the mic is not micing correctly. Um, yeah, let me just keep talking. That's fine. Yeah, I feel like that's ultimately the way it's going to play out. I mean, I know who I've got to win. I won't be giving any of those predictions. Now you'll have to wait till that basis picks video drops. Anyone who's not tuned to my website, I mean my YouTube channel, please go subscribe over there. But yeah, I know who wins that fight, and I know who's the most improved out of the two as well. So yeah, ultimately that's kind of how I see it going. Let me go check some of these comments. All right, so Arnold is on the undercard and is also good for moment for publicity. Yeah, I mean, Arnold Barbosa's already said, look, I'm training for the day anyway, so I'm ready to step in if Ryan drops off. That would be a harder fight for Devin than Ryan. Well, maybe not harder, but it'll definitely be least it won't be as fan friendly because Arnold's more of a boxer as well, as opposed to what Devin is. But yeah. Let's see some of these other comments. Derek James wasn't getting involved in pettiness or two Gen Zs. Yeah, so HLD said. Let's go back to these. Okay, so HLD, Baumgardner wants to challenge, but not do whatever it takes. She won't even go to 126 for Serrano. Well, here's what I'll say to that HLD. She never said that she would. And maybe I think she said that she can't make 126. So ultimately she's never said that she'll go down to 126 for her. She said, well, Serrano's been at 130 before. She can come up to 130, challenge for another undisputed. To me, that makes total sense. But it's again with the Claressa thing. If Claressa never once said, I'll go to 147 for these people, then there would be no argument. There'd be no, oh, well, why won't you fight me there? But she's put the receipts out. So, with Alicia, it's a, at least she hasn't put her foot in her mouth in that sense. Other stuff notwithstanding, but hey, let's see what else is on there. That's what they say, but he don't got up. He don't got opponents yet, and he said he ready if Ryan backs out. Yeah, he'll be training for the date, and I'm pretty sure that on there they'll basically just get him like a showcase opponent. So, and that opponent will just have a little retainer. If you're, take this money, yeah, and just be ready if we call you. Just make sure you're in shape for the fight. So his opponent isn't going to be anything special. He won't even be like chief supporter, the chief support, the co-main on the card. He'll be probably lower down the card, because that's where they have him. That's where they need him to be. But he's just going to be ready for that fight. Should Ryan or Devin back out. Baumgardner did say on Jake Paul podcast she would go to 126, but took it back. Okay, I never heard her say that. All the interviews I saw, and interviews that she's done before and after fights, she said that she's not going to 126. That she can't make that. That's what I've seen. But if she said it on the Jake Paul podcast, then I retract what I said. But if she said that then, and then it said I can't make it, that's different to someone else saying I'll do it, but I'm only going to do it for these people, but I won't do it for you. If you're going to do it for champions, then do it for all the champions. I think Christine's saying that we're going to reschedule when she gets back to the States, probably. I can hear you typing, so I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, I think everyone can hear you typing.
Oh my gosh, I can hear you typing. Okay, I can hear you again.
Okay.
My internet just keeps going in and out, and I'm so sorry. But I want us to reschedule.
Okay. I'll do a 2 o'clock in the morning thing for you.
Well, I'm so sorry, but you know what? I'll do a 2 o'clock in the morning for you too. Like I'll get up.
We're on different. Your time zone's behind mine. That's never going to happen unless you're in Australia or something.
Okay, well, whatever. Well, even if I have to get up sometime, I'll do it.
No, well, the next time you're over in the UK and you have to get up at 2 in the morning to do your show, then you can invite me on then and we can suffer together.
You know what? And I will say, like, I love Italy. It's beautiful. I do. It's just the Wi-Fi has not been good. But when I was in the UK, it was really good. It was really good. I had no problems. But you know what? It might just be me. Maybe it's me.
Nah, it's the Wi-Fi.
I know. I appreciate you so much. I'm so sorry, and thanks to everybody for your patience. But definitely, I'm going to be in contact with you, and then one day I need to go to a fight over there, and we can have a spot of tea.
Oh Lord, we definitely won't be if you're talking like that. But no, yeah, 100%. Hit me up after the stream, or we'll talk anyway. Like we got each other's number. Just give me a shout, and we'll reschedule.
I will. Thank you so much, and thanks to the chat, guys. Thanks for your patience. Okay, have a good night. Okay, bye.